asked you here today because I want to kind of pick your brain about a variety of things. Now, you've been with us kind of a long time in Allegro. I checked, and it's over 6.5 years.
Awesome.
That's a long time. Yeah. Is it working out for you?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that long.
I know. I agree. But it also doesn't feel like 30 years for me. So, we're playing
awesome.
in the same boat. So you teach a lot of students. Do you happen to know how many? I didn't get a chance to check that.
I think I actually checked last week, and it was like 32, I believe.
All right, that's a lot of kids. What instruments do you teach?
It's mostly drums, and then guitar and piano as well.
Do you have one that you prefer to teach?
I definitely prefer drums or guitar.
You were a very new teacher when you started with us. You maybe even did start teaching, right? Was teaching the first thing that you did, or did you help us with some of the desk stuff?
A little bit of desk stuff first, but the first day I came in to introduce myself to you, I started subbing that night. Okay. So I was kind of thrown into it.
Right.
But then shadowed a few people before I started really getting my own students,
What's one thing that you've learned in the last 6.5 years of teaching?
I've learned that teaching music is not so much about teaching music. I mean, you're teaching a lot of life lessons. You're teaching people how to be motivated and not get mad or depressed if you can't do something the first time. By teaching music, you really learn that you're teaching someone how to learn, how to stay motivated or not give up. It applies to so many things in life, not only music. That's just one thing.
And that's kind of learning in general, right? So whenever you learn something, you get better at learning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's something I don't think we talk about or we think about nearly enough. Probably important, no matter what we're learning, to always be learning something. That's probably a good thing. I know sometimes we get tired of learning stuff, but probably...
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of fun. I tell students all the time who sometimes want to just play the easy songs. Playing the easy songs is good, but doing the hard stuff in life is what's actually fun, and pushes you and helps you grow. So you got to do the hard stuff. No matter what.
The hard stuff is practicing. What do you do when you have a student that's struggling to practice? What's one of the things that's successful for you to help a kid continue on?
Definitely want to know why they're in lessons. That definitely helps finding the motivation.
What their personal goal is?
Their personal goal, or it might be a parent's personal goal. Either way, what the motivation is, I try to find out how to make it fun. If someone is in the piano pronto books, and they maybe don't like all of the classical songs, well, we can also start playing along to some pop music. So find anything that's fun. So then when they go home, they don't feel like they're practicing, they're just playing. They're just playing guitar, not practicing, just playing.
So you're a fun person. I'm not necessarily as much fun. What tips would you give to somebody who's not fun to add the fun to a student's lessons?
I mean, don't stress out about a student not making a whole lot of progress or not enough progress for you. Everyone makes progress. And if someone starts playing piano at 6 years old, as long as you're showing them how to have fun playing music, they're going to play music their whole life and get better, no matter what. But if you're the kind of teacher where with your students, where you're only focusing on progress and not fun, well then the chances are getting smaller that they're going to play music all their life.
Yeah, except for the really driven student, the one that is motivated by turning the page, finishing the song, performing on stage. That is another one of our students. Most of our students are going to play it for their personal enjoyment. I recently interviewed a couple of our students, and one's a former student. She's a pre-med, Caitlin Hookema. She's going to be a doctor.
That is awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. She still plays, but she plays for relieving stress. She's not focused on becoming a great guitar player because obviously she wants to be a doctor. She's still able to use it for that reason. You're right that you need to figure out what's the reason why this student is doing it. If they want to be a concert pianist, that's a different game than if they just want to be able to play some songs, maybe play with their friends. Or something
absolutely.
like that. Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I agree 100%.
So your advice is to not stress so much about it. Just try to keep it light.
So you asked me what's a tip for a teacher who isn't that much fun, and I guess my tip was just be more fun.
Okay.
That's not a great tip, obviously. That's what I can think of right now. Focus on making it fun first. And, of course, having a good relationship with your student. You don't want your student to always come into your lesson room and expect the first thing you're going to say is, why didn't you practice this week? You don't want to be that person, obviously.
Yeah.
You
Well, and I think learning music, no matter what, is a long game. It is a mistake to be focused so much on what did I get done this week, what did I get done this week, because there's peaks and valleys in the learning process anyway. Keeping in mind that you only really get good over a long stretch of time, That's the important thing, I think. I know for me, I just focus on how well can I know this student. And you kind of said that too, knowing what they're in it for. When I spend time with a student, I know what things they like, what things they do when they're not in lessons. That helps me to keep moving them along. I'm also not terribly worried about what happened necessarily this week. I'm more looking at, let's look at the month, let's look at the year and see what we can accomplish.
Because everyone has like tough days, tough weeks. So yeah, comparing every week, you might not see that much progress. So yeah, I say never do that. Just look at where you were a year ago.
Right.
You probably made progress as long as you're practicing a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, even if all you do is show up for lessons, you're going to make some progress. You're not going to make as much as the person who's practicing an hour a day. There's lots of ways to play this game. What's your favorite part about teaching?
Favorite part about teaching? It's really tough to find a favorite part of it.
Well, what things do you like about it?
I appreciate music very much. I think it's helped me with a number of things in life, and to show someone else that is obviously great. That's probably my favorite part. But while I'm in a lesson, my favorite part is probably just playing music with a student. Primarily it's drummers and guitarists that I'm playing with. Mm-hmm. And they want to play music like in a band, and so just having them play along with the track or with me, I think that's a lot of fun, because you actually see the fun in their face then. Whereas if they're trying to just do an exercise, you see like the concentration or sometimes the frustration in their face. Just playing a song and having fun, I think, is my favorite part.
You mentioned that, music has been really important to you and you feel like it's an integral part, of who you are. And I tell those kind of stories too. I'll freely tell people that like my whole life, the way it is because of music. All of my friends, I would never have met Lori if it wasn't for music. Everything, my job, obviously, is all because of music. And if I hadn't had that, if the different people that invested in me along the way hadn't done that, I wouldn't be where I am today. It's not a perfect life, but I'm generally pretty happy with all the things that we get to accomplish. Yeah. And giving that to the next person or the kid that I always felt like I didn't belong anywhere else other than with the music kids or with the theater kids. Like that was my place to belong, and just creating a place where kids maybe like me can belong somewhere. That's kind of what Allegro is all about.
Yeah.
Right from the beginning, we're our own kind of people. I think I'm really glad that we found you. Your story's kind of interesting. Are you aware that when you met Lori you were annoying her? Has she ever told you that?
I don't think so. No. I don't care though.
No, it all
you have to annoy people sometimes.
It all worked out, yeah.
I was just a kid in a paint store trying to get an interview. You got to be annoying. You got to bug people.
I don't even think you knew that she was with Allegro. You were helping her pick colors, which is really cool because like a lot of the way that Allegro looks is because of those colors that you helped her pick, all those years ago. And she was really frustrated because one of the things that we don't like is picking colors and choosing how things look. Lori and I are not gifted at that. We know what we like when we see it.
Yeah.
But we can't just go here. So she showed up and you were being like a really helpful salesperson, like exactly what the paint store people would want you to do. And she kind of wanted you to just leave her alone. You kept showing up, well, what about this? Well, what about this? And we settled on, all those colors. And it was then that probably at checkout, she told you, with Allegro, and you looked up our account and you're like, oh, I'd like to work for you guys. And then it took a little bit of time, but I think it's worked out really well for both of us.
Yeah.
And it's certainly worked out really well for your students, like all the students that you've taught over time. You also run our rock band camps in the summertime. Talk about those a little bit.
Well, those camps are one of the funnest things I do all summer, honestly. From 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. I get to experience kind of what it's like to be a real teacher, from 9 to 4 with a lot more kids, but it's certainly a lot of fun. So shout out, I guess, to all of the real teachers out there teaching from 9 a.m. to 4.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough to do. But the summer camps, we just make a band for a week. We learn how to play a cover song. We learn how to write our own song. And this is on any instrument that you want to play that is in your typical rock band. So guitar, piano, drums. Yeah, kids can play whatever they want. And no matter what, at the end of the week on Friday, we're going to have an original song that sounds good and do a cover.
Yeah, and we've been doing those rock band camps for 20 years. We've got some really cool original songs. Better dig them out of the can at some point in time.
Make a compilation album.
Yeah, we should. That Boss recorder that is floating around, have you ever seen it? It's like this. It's in this black padded case. I think it's on the back porch right now. All the original, probably the first 10 years of camp are on that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, we should dig those out. There's some winners written by yours truly.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Joe Amato has some on there.
Okay.
Did you ever meet Joe Amato?
No. The name
Okay.
sounds familiar, though.
Yeah, he's a real teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just moved back to the area. So,
Okay.
yeah, we may get him in as a not real teacher at Allegro.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice. It'd be cool to meet him.
You know, and so besides teaching, you do a lot of stuff. Like you do help us with painting still.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you help us, keep the place in shape and get the place in shape and all those things. And critical to, set up and tear down of recital and all of our shows. And now you help us with video and all of those kind of things. Is that part of the job cool?
As much as I love teaching, like to do it for 8 hours a day would be much,
Yeah.
So if I do it for only 4 hours a day, and then I can do a whole array of things for the rest of the day, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I like about my job here is that I'm not stuck doing the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
day in, day out. It's a pretty big variety of stuff. If you could give, I asked for what's a tip that you could give to teachers, but what's a tip that you would give to a brand new student starting out?
What kind of tip, though?
Let's say it's their first week of lessons. They have no idea how it's going to go. You have no idea how, you have a plan, right? We all have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
When we step into the lesson room, we know what we want the kid to know. What do you want the kid to know? Let's say it's a drum lesson. What do you want the kid to know after, at the end of his first lesson as he's preparing for that first week?
So specifically with that instruments, there's a number of concepts. Like we might start talking about some notes or, our basic drum beats and whatnot. And that goes, same for guitar. You might talk about the parts of the guitar, how many strings, and just start to strum the guitar or hit a drum and make sure you have good technique, how to hold your instrument and move your body in order to play it. But a general thing for any student that I want them to know at the first lesson is, they can always come in and tell me that they didn't practice that week. It's okay if we don't practice every day. I'm here as a friend, not just someone your parents hired to make you practice.
Right, yeah.
I'm here to be your friend. In doing so, hopefully motivate you to play a little bit of music with me.
So would you rather them come in and say, I didn't practice this week? Or would you rather find out on your own? Because we know pretty quickly.
Well, that's what I tell students. If you tell me you practice, I'm going to expect it to be better. But if it's worse, that's an issue. And then I know the answer. Yeah, students, generally, all of my students sometimes come in and say, honestly, I totally forgot about drum lessons this week. It's easy to, even playing drums, even though playing drums is important to me, we still forget important things all the time.
I took guitar lessons all the way into adulthood. I was probably 25 when I quit taking guitar lessons. Quit for a while. That teacher, my main teacher that I learned the most from, I would quite often, because I was a grown-up, I had a job, it wasn't unusual for me to come in and say, yeah, I just didn't practice this week. And I think he appreciated that. A lot of students feel embarrassed about how, I didn't do what I was supposed to.
Yeah.
And it's just we can help them way better if we know where they stand. Setting that off, right at the beginning. I've never done that. I think I'm going to add that to my teaching repertoire and just let people know, hey, it's okay. Stuff happens, life happens. Again, it's we're here for the long term. It's not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You don't have to compare week to week. Just think about the long term. If you're still having fun doing it.
Is there any parting words? What do you want all students to know about music lessons?
That's a really tough one, but I say don't be too hard on yourself. If you think about the future, if you didn't do good at something the past week or the past month, just focus on the next week and making it better. That's what I always say. Try to have fun. And hopefully your teacher is helping you with that.
Well, thanks for your time, Ryan. Appreciate you sitting down and imparting some wisdom to our current and future students. And,
of course.
All right. Have great lessons today.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Sure thing.